You often hear me talk about how amazing the world is. This is the best time ever to be alive. The only day better than today is tomorrow. And I'm always looking for content and data that demonstrates this moment of exponential and abundance-minded growth. Well, there was an article recently in Vox that published a new updated set of abundance-minded graphics. And I chunked them into 4 groups and I'd like to present them to you in a way that you can share this video and this content with friends and family who are negative about life and say, listen, here's the actual data. Forget about what you're watching on the Crisis News Network and pay attention to what the data is actually saying. So let's dive in. Our first grouping is around economic progress. So graph 1 here is the percent of the population living in extreme poverty, and it's plummeted. Right? This extraordinary rate of economic growth in the developing world, especially in India and China. We've moved more people out of extreme poverty into the middle class than ever before. This has changed a huge decline in the share of the world's population living on less than $1.90 a day, almost $2 a day. So we went from 35% in 1987 to under 11% in 2013, and it's still continuing, and we're going to eliminate extreme poverty in the next 20 years. Let's look at graph number 2, which is hunger around the world. And one of the things that's most fundamental about abundance is increased abundance of nutrition and food and reducing hunger. We forget how difficult it was to actually survive, get the food you need to thrive for you and your family. So let's look at this graphic. Countries marked in red, hunger has increased. For orange or tan, it's decreased by up to 50%. And for green, it's decreased by over 50%. Do you see any red? Because I don't. We're seeing a lot of light brown and a lot of green. And when a population is well fed, they have the time to focus on things outside of their immediate survival, like solving the world's grand challenges, educating their kids, creating wealth for themselves and their community. So, on a full belly, people are able to think a lot better. And by the way, one of the most important things that we don't think about is that a pregnant mother or a child in the first 1,000 days, if they get the proper nutrition, their brains develop to their full IQ potential. If they don't, they're stunted for life. So this is about, increasing the intellectual quotient of a nation state. So an amazing graph. Okay, let's look at graph number 3. We have more leisure time than ever before. In the last 100 years, the average amount of leisure time has increased by almost 40%. In fact, I'm proud to announce that at this year's A360, we're going to be doing an entire module dedicated to the future of free time, the future of play, and the future of work. And so this is about what do you do with your time? And when you have free time, you can dedicate it to your passions, you can dedicate it to learning, you can dedicate it to improving the status of your family and your community. These changes aren't just reflecting the adult population. Check out this graph. Okay, let's go to graph number 4. There has been a significant reduction in child labor. A 40% reduction, to be specific, in child labor between the year 2000 and 2016. Still a lot more to do, but worth calibrating and celebrating where we are over the last 16 years. Pretty extraordinary. And lastly, Americans, and probably many places in the world, are spending less of their income on food. So graph number 5 is the percent of disposable income spent on food, and it's plummeting. So between 1960 and 2007, for those 47 years, the share of disposable income spent on the total food budget by Americans on average fell 40%. So let's close this out. On these subjects of free time, on food, on leisure, was there anything missed that you have seen yourself? I mean, for me, these are massive increases about freeing up human passion, intellect, giving us the food, nutrition to live a better life. This is the data that led myself and Stephen Kotler to write Abundance. It's why we started Abundance Digital and Abundance 360, to change your mindset, for you to have an abundance-minded life. And so when people are telling you the world is getting worse, don't believe them. Look at the data. Thanks.